That's tomorrow, and that is it. Again, 5, 4, 3. That's tomorrow, and that is it for us today. And we will leave you with a. I can't do it. We'll do it live. Okay. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it, and we'll do it live. Fucking thing sucks.
All right, let's try this again. Once again, thank you for taking our time to watch this me on a Saturday afternoon. You could be anywhere. You could be doing anything. Here, where I'm at, it's a nice weather. The sun is shining, so I hope the weather is nice where you're at. Again, just very quickly, this is a show in which I cover news, highlights, and events from the world of tech from the past week. I go over some of the big things, give you my opinion, give you my analysis. Very informal. I like to play around, I like to goof around. I don't take myself too seriously. I'm going to stumble, I'm going to make some mistakes. But the whole point of it is just to bring you some information. I don't try to sensationalize it. I don't fictionalize it. I don't make up facts or anything. I just give you the facts and then I just present it to you and let you decide what you want to believe or take away from that. So again, I love covering tech topics. Again, I do this every Saturday at 2 o'clock. So let's get right into the broadcast very quickly. Just give you a rundown of everything I will be covering today. First off, let's go over broadband. FCC turbocharges broadband. Speed requirements have quadrupled. So again, this is the first time that they've actually increased the broadband requirements in the past 10 years. So we're going to take a look at that. TikTok. TikTok was banned. Banned video earlier this week talking about it. Very big topic, so we're going to go over that. Also, Intel Core i9 becomes the fastest CPU ever, topping 9.12 gigahertz. So amazing speeds there. So that's some of the quicker topics I'm going to cover. But first, let's go into some of the larger topics here. Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 specs just leaked, and they could blow iPhone 16 away. So we're going to get into that. So over the last few years, it was each iteration of the Snapdragon processor, they have been getting better and faster. So Snapdragon is looking to try to dethrone Apple. Samsung's the Galaxy S24 series have been off to a phenomenal start in terms of sales. So they've had some various records that they've broken. Samsung has actually had to increase their demand for their forecast for the Galaxy S24 series this year because of strong sales. So we'll talk about that. The Xiaomi Mix Fold 4 is going to be a powerhouse. The specs on this phone is going to be phenomenal. And this is seriously a contender to Samsung, and as they look to try to dethrone them. OpenAI. So this week, OpenAI announced ChatGPT5 or some details about it. So we're going to talk about that, as well as OpenAI is actually powering a robot whose motions and actions are very fluid. So we're going to go over that. There's also a video I want to show you as well. And last but not least, let's talk about iOS 18 rumors. So we got some details about what is expected in the next version of iOS, as well as a makeover for Siri. It is overdue time for her to get that makeover. So that's everything I'm going to cover very quickly. If you want to follow me on social media, head over to Twitter. There I post articles every day throughout the day, news articles. Not everything that I do makes it in video form, but I do post links here on Twitter. Make sure you follow me at sounds_nerdy. Also, I'm very active on Gab as well. Sounds nerdy. You can follow me there at Sounds Nerdy. I'm also on other platforms, social, True Social, Getter, Mine, so Instagram. You can also check me out on those places as well. All right, but let's get back into the topics real quick. Let's go over some of these really quickly. Also, if you're down there in the chat, make sure you hit that like button as well. Also, drop a comment in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. Give me some feedback. Comment on all the topics that I'm covering. Have any questions, please put them down there in chat and let me know. All right, first topic here. The FCC turbocharges broadband. Speed requirements have quadrupled. So let's get into this real quick. So the FCC has increased broadband speeds benchmark for the first time in almost 10 years. For internet service to be deemed broadband, the commission now requires it to provide at least 100 megabits per second download and 20 megabits per second uploads. Now the former standard was 25 megabits per second download and 2 megabits per second upload. Now that's again has been the standard since 2015. So well overdue for that to to be updated. And also they have a long-term goal of they want to get to 1 gigabit per second download and 500 megabits per second upload. Now, I don't know when that's going to happen, but we'll see somewhere in the near future. Also, obviously, making these requirements, broadband companies are not going to just give you this for free. So expect your broadband costs to probably go up as a result of this. But let's talk about the speeds here. So here is just a chart of the fastest speeds by country. So number one, top of the list is Monaco. Number two, Singapore. Number three, Hong Kong. Yeah, for Romania, Switzerland, Denmark, Thailand, Chile, France, and South Korea. United States, being the most powerful, most productive, wealthiest country in the world, is not even in the top 10 in terms of broadband speeds. Now you have to go down the list here. Hungary at 11, Liechtenstein at 12, then finally United States chime in at 13 with 203 megabits per second. So I remember, I think at one point, United States was further down on the list. So it seems like they are climbing up the list, but still, being the most powerful country, I would expect them to have the fastest speeds, but that comes down to politicians and having to grease some of these slimy politicians' pockets and to get these things to run faster. But again, that's out of my pay range. We should be topping this list, but we're not. Or we should be at least in the top 10, probably in the top 5. Now, a lot of these, Asian countries, they're on top of it. As you can see here, you have Singapore and Hong Kong at number 2 and number 3. But you ought to look out for faster speeds coming in the future. I'm looking forward to that. Next topic here. Again, I'm not going to go into great details about this topic. I did a video covering this. TikTok ban. Here's everything we need to know. But basically, if you haven't heard about it, the United States House has passed a bill that would ban TikTok if in the 180 days leading up to that, they do not divest or sell it to an American company. If at that point they do not, then they will be forced to ban it in the United States. Now, we already have some states that have outlawed having TikTok on your on government devices. So this right here will take it a step further, giving the control not only to Congress, but to the president to dictate what apps or websites that they can control and take down if they don't like the content or if they don't like that they are controlled by a foreign adversary. Again, I did a video where I talked about this in more detail, gave my opinions. Again, this is a bad precedent set where the government can just shut down an app or website just because they say it's owned by a foreign company or a foreign asset. Very, very bad precedent that is set, and I'm hoping that they do not pass in the Senate, but we'll see what happens. Again, I have a video about that. I'll link all of the everything I covered down in the description. You can go check that out. And one quick snack before we get to the main course. Intel Core i9, the 14900KS, is the fastest CPU ever, hitting 9.1 gigahertz. That is overclocked, of course. So Intel's long rumored Core i9 14900 finally went on sale yesterday and already has broken records, becoming the fastest ever. Time Hardware reports that a team of expert overclockers at ASUS took the Core i9 14900KS, which runs at already at 6.2 gigahertz right out of the box, and pushed it to 9.117 gigahertz to set a new world record. Now, obviously, they had to use a lot of liquid nitrogen to run this thing below negative degrees, so in order to reach those speeds. But it's always fascinating to see that they just previously beat their record, which they said I think last year with the 14900KF, which was at 9.044 gigahertz. So they beat that. So probably expect the same thing to happen next year with that. So very fast, very, very cool to see. Again, for the average person, you're never going to be able to do this because the amount of liquid nitrogen that you need is just ridiculous. But that is some of the quick snacks I wanted to get rid of. Now let's get into some of the meat and potatoes that I want to dive into. Hey, once again, if you're down there in the comments, let me know. Chat, hit that like button so we can get this pushed out to more people. That helps the algorithm push this out. Make sure everything is still going good. Yes, chat. No problems here. All right. So first topic here I want to cover, big topic. Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 specs just leaked, and they could blow away the iPhone 16. Right. So again, as I stated in my intro, Snapdragon has been making gains over the past few years, and each time it's getting closer and closer to the the iPhone chips. And it looks like finally with the Gen 4, they may be able to do that But there is one caveat that we do have to talk about, and we'll get into that as we read this article here. So this is out of Time Guide. Qualcomm has stated that it will launch the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 this October. While we only have seen tentative details about the specs of the chips, the new leak gives us a clear picture of what we can expect from the next generation of Snapdragon. According to the rumors, the Snapdragon Gen 4 achieves a Geekbench single core in the region of 3500. This is higher than Apple's A18 chip and matches the max score that was reported for the iPhone 16 Pro's A18 Pro chip. While there's no actual figures for the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 multi-core, the GPU test in the leak, they supposedly exceed the A18 by a fair margin. So just reading this paragraph right here, it looks like the Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 is definitely poised to go past the A18. But if we keep going and go down to this next one, there is a caveat that we need to talk about. If these numbers are true, then this might be the first time that Qualcomm will manage to exceed Apple's chip capabilities in a single core test. Apple outstripped the Android models with relative ease. There was somewhat countered by the release of the Galaxy S24, which kind of closed the gap here. As you can see on this table right here, again, I did do a video covering this also, so you can also check that out, right? Talk about all of this. But let's get into the major caveat. The Snapdragon 8 Gen 4 Prime core could be clocked at 4.3 gigahertz with a potential power draw of 1.3 volts. Now, these numbers would mean that the chip would run very hot and are beyond many smartphone current capability. So basically, on paper, it looks good, but in actuality, running at 1.3 volts is not something that regular modern day smartphones are not capable of doing. So in actuality, once we put this out in the real world, they're gonna probably have to scale back not only the gigahertz, but also the power draw down from 1.3 volts to something a little bit more practical. And again, that will determine what that speed is going to actually be like. Don't know if they can actually surpass the A18 at that point, but we won't know until we actually get this out into the wild. But that is but overall, it is still very promising for Qualcomm and the Snapdragon chip. Again, like I said, each time they come out with a new chip, they continue to get better and better. So we will see once this actually is out there in the wild. But let me know what you guys think about that. Do you think they can actually tackle the iPhone? As you know, iPhone they crush it with their silicone. Ever since they switched to their own silicone, they've been pretty much blowing anybody out of the water. And Snapdragon is trying to get there. So we'll see what happens with them when they come out with that. All right, let's move over to Samsung. So Samsung's exceptional Galaxy S24 series sales are highlighted by yet another source. So we heard about how the sales of the Galaxy S24 series have been pretty good. And so we've had multiple sources that have come out to corroborate that. So this is an article out of Phone Arena. The Galaxy S24 Plus and S24 Ultra have already been deemed major box office hits on a number of different reports. But because Samsung rarely makes the sales results in high-end smartphones public, it's definitely nice and important to see another reliable source put together some unofficial estimates. So even though Samsung has done well with the S24 series, but if you think back to when the phone first launched, there were some issues that propped up. Galaxy S24 problems piled up. 4 issues plaguing Samsung's newest smartphone. Now, I'm not going to go into great detail. I just wanted to bring this up for reference that a lot of these issues that they were having from the get-go, the vivid display mode issue, the green line display issue, faulty cameras, and the Android Auto issue. Those are some of the major issues that the phone was having. And, I did do a video about that, went into great detail. You can go watch that. The fanboys came out, let me have it. They did not like the fact that I was talking bad about the Samsung Galaxy S24 and all its problems. I'm a Samsung guy myself here. Behind me, I have all my boxes of my Samsung stuff right here. So I just wanted them to do better, but I needed to talk about some of their problems. But let's just flip back to their actual success that they are having, despite those issues. That's why I wanted to bring that up. So double-digit growth across the board. For some reason, Counterpoint Research doesn't appear to have published complete report based on these new numbers, which are thus only accessible to us via Yonhap news piece and a Renvignus X post. The latter includes a little neat graph that makes everything pretty easy to understand, except for that 18% down here. Let me blow this up so you can see that right here. So so it looks so the Galaxy S23 is in blue and the S24 is in orange. So you can see here, I can't read this. So we're looking at 8% growth here, 14, 22, 28, and then negative 18. I believe this one is overall. This is probably each of the phone series. I'm thinking the plus, ultra, and then just the regular. But you can see here they're doing pretty well so far for the S24 series. During the first 3 weeks of the commercial availability, the Galaxy S24, the Plus, and the Ultra were apparently up by double digits compared to their predecessor in terms of sales in the United States, Korea, and Western Europe. So their phones have, again, when they initially launched, they were doing so well that Samsung had to actually increase their forecasting of the Galaxy S24. I think they increased it from like 1.2 million units to like 1.3 million units or something like that. I can't remember. I covered it in another video, I want to say, or something. But yeah, but it's been very impressive. There are obviously three of the most important global markets for Samsung, and while it's not exactly surprising to see Korean numbers jump by 22%, the 14 and 18% increase estimates for the U.S. and Western Europe respectively are pretty darn impressive. So that's what those numbers are. You have Korea, US, and Europe. Those numbers have increased. So very good start for Samsung. But let's see here. Due to the mysterious 18% decline in the graph's last column, worldwide sales are only up by 8%. So I am curious as to which country is down 18%. We don't know. We won't know until unless they actually release some numbers, but we'll see. Due to the mysterious 18% decline, they're only up by 8%, which is by no means a bad result. The Galaxy S23 Plus and Ultra, mind you, also sold relatively well in the first few weeks of availability. So it seems like the S24 is still on par with what the S23 has done. But hopefully, for Samsung's sake, that these numbers can continue to increase as the time frame goes on. The Galaxy S24 Ultra is more popular than the S24 and S24 Plus combined. So there you have it. So a lot of people are jumping to the S24 Ultra, obviously for obvious reason. It is the beast among all of them. Great camera, the specs, the S Pen functionality as well. So that is the one that you want to go on if you are a fan of Samsung phones, you want something that is going to last you, something that's going to just be buttery smooth. Obviously, the Ultra is the one that you want to go with. So the biggest and baddest member of the S24 family single-handedly accounted for 52% of the global market ships during the aforementioned period. So of all of the phones, it was 52% was for the Galaxy S24 Ultra. So that took up the bulk of it. So that is the phone. Like, again, that's the one everybody wants. That is the one you want to go with. So again, these shares are actually not that different from how the S24 Ultra compared with the S23 and the S23 Plus last year. So pretty similar to what they did last year. So again, looks like Samsung is keeping pace each year with each phone. Once again, there's no word on sales numbers for each of these models or the high-end family as today. But one source anticipates Samsung will surpass 10 million units within 1 month of launch. So that is a huge number, 10 million units for Samsung. So hopefully Samsung can continue to sell. Again, despite the issues that they had up front when the phone first launched. Again, I did a video about that. I got roasted for it. They did not like me talking about the phone, but I don't care. I had to bring out the truth and the facts about what was going on with the phone. Most people weren't affected. Just a small number were, but it's good to see that there are still driving sales with the Samsung S24. I think a lot of it has to do with the new AI technology that's in there, the Galaxy AI. I think a lot of people are very curious about that. I'm still waiting to get that on my Galaxy Z Fold 5. They haven't updated it yet, so waiting to try out those. But let me know what you guys think about the sales of Samsung. Do you think they can keep this pace up, and will they pass what they did with the S23? All right, let's move on here. All right, the Xiaomi Mix Fold 4 reporting packs 1 terabyte storage, two-way satellite communication. There's one article, and the other article here, Xiaomi's next foldable could be a total powerhouse. So again, we've gotten specs, leaks about what this phone will be packing. So let's take a look at that. And it will be packed, very packed. So Xiaomi plans to refresh its lineup of foldable smartphones with yet another flagship, the Mix Fold 4. Although the device is likely several months away, first details about the phone, what's under the hood, have just dropped. directly from China. Reliable leaker, digital chat station claims the Mix Fold 4 will be powered by Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Gen 3, as we would expect. That is the latest and most powerful chip that's available right now. The Fold will pack no less than 16 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabyte of internal storage memory. They said no less than. So this thing is already going to be packed. 16 gigabytes is what you expect. 1 terabyte, you're not going to get that unless you usually start off with like a 256 model, but they're starting off with a 1 terabyte internal memory. I mean, they're going for the juggler right there. Since the amount of memory is usually reserved for the most expensive flagship variants, we expect Xiaomi to launch cheaper versions with slightly less memory. Okay, so they may have cheaper models. Because I do wonder if they had started with just 1 terabyte, what that price point would be like. But it looks like we do expect them to come out with slightly less memory, which I would expect, because not everybody needs a terabyte of data. Not everybody needs that much storage space, whatever. Xiaomi's foldable phone will feature two-way satellite communication and a battery bigger than 5,000 milliamps. So we're saying that the Mi Mix Fold, I keep calling it the Mi Mix for some reason. The Mix Fold 4 will be waterproof and will feature a customized X-axis motor. So I wonder why they're calling out this X-axis motor. That is the motor that's used for like haptic feedback. So if you're typing, you get that feedback. Also for gaming, any rumbles or whatever, navigation, stuff like that. So they call that out. So I wonder if they're going to do something differently compared to other people out there, or is it just something unique that they're going to come up with? But we'll see what they come up with. Another thing I wanted to touch on was the cameras here. According to the leaker, the phone might sport a 50 megapixel main camera with a fixed wide aperture. There's also talk about new periscope camera that could potentially replace its predecessor's 5x 10 megapixel sensor with a higher resolution shooter, promising better long range zoom capabilities. The upcoming phone could be equipped with two-way satellite communication, right? And if it turns out that to be true, it looks like Samsung might have some serious competition to deal with. Right, so the Xiaomi Mix Fold series has recently been limited to the Chinese market, but according to a recent leak, the Mix Fold 4 just might break that trend and see a global release. So if they are actually able to have a global release, that would be huge for them, and it will bring much needed competition to Samsung in terms of foldable market, force Samsung to actually be more creative, be more innovative, and not rest on their laurels and be lazy with what they're doing. So this phone, like, again, according to the specs right here, it is going to be a powerhouse. Talking about 67 watt also charging as well. It also has support for 100 watt charging. So this phone it has all the specs. It has everything to compete with Samsung. Now, if they can release it worldwide, then, watch out, Samsung, because speaking of foldables on the worldwide market, so up until I think last quarter, Samsung was the king, but we're getting reports and rumors that Samsung may drop to second place in terms of foldables, and Huawei will be jumping up to that #1 spot. So that report hasn't released yet, but I've already seen some data that shows that. So once that comes out, then it will be passed all around for everybody to see. But again, if we have another phone like this with this spec drop right here, Samsung is in trouble. They really need to figure out what they're going to do with the next phone. We've been hearing rumors about the Z Fold 6 that they may have multiple models. Again, I've talked about this in a separate video. You can go check that out. That they may be doing an ultra model as well as a cheaper model. Now we're hearing conflicting rumors that they may be either or. So we'll see. More on that in the coming months once we get more information. But what do you think about this Xiaomi Mix Fold 4? Do you think it can compete with the Samsung Z Fold 6 series? They have a chance to dethrone Samsung if it goes global. Let me know what you guys think down in the chat section. All right. So every week I have to talk about AI, because it seems like every week the advancements in every week there is something new and exciting that's coming down the front in AI. Something new and exciting that just pushes the bar forward every single week. So this week is just no different. Let's talk about OpenAI ChatGPT5. We talk about the development of its future and future business structure. So I'm not going to really touch on too much of the business structure too much. I want to talk about what the capabilities are. So OpenAI has released new details about its leadership with those who will oversee the development and release of ChatGPT5. Last month, it was revealed that the full training of GPT-5 is already underway. This week, OpenAI has confirmed that Sam Altman and Greg Brockman have been reinstated to continue leading OpenAI after an independent review by a law firm. So that's enough about that. Let's talk about some of the capabilities right here of ChatGPT5. Here's what we know. Launch and training indications. OpenAI began the full training of ChatGPT5 with evidence from tweets. OpenAI's president and co-founder Jason Wei, a top AI researcher. Model training and approach. So OpenAI typically trains smaller models, about 1,000 of the size of the full model, to gather insights before conducting a full training run. Safety testing and red teamers. The closing of applications for the red teaming network indicates the initiation of safety testing for the GPT-5. Then we have model capabilities and focus areas, incorporating methods to allow ChatGPT-5 to think for longer before laying out reasoning steps. So giving them more brain power. So think before you speak, pretty much. Increase enhancements in multi-modality, so it can improve handling of speech, images, and possibly video. Increase emphasis on reasoning abilities and reliability. Model size and architecture, applications and practical tips, release timeline, safety consideration, and a few more things out here. Again, this will be linked down below if you want to go and read that. But the key thing I wanted to talk about with OpenAI this week was how it is going to be powering this robot called Figure01. And there's a video I want to go over. But before we play this video, I want to set it up just a little bit. Today, a robotic startup valued at $2.6 billion, founded less than 2 years ago by former workers at Boston Dynamics, Tesla, Google DeepMind, and Archer Aviation. So pretty smart people here already that are getting together to build this robot. Showed off its first collaboration with a new investor and partner, OpenAI, maker of ChatGPT, and undeniably, it is impressive. So before I get into that, real quick, just want to tell you what's going to happen in this video. They posted a demo of a full figure-sized humanoid robot, the Figure01, demonstrating its capabilities to interact with a nearby human and its environment, showing the robot following the person's order, locating and handling an object. And so let's just take a look at this video right quick. It's going to be very impressive. Let me blow this up for you.
Hey, Figure01, what do you see right now?
I see a red apple on a plate in the center of the table, a drying rack with cups and a plate, and you standing nearby with your hand on the table.
Great, can I have something to eat?
Sure thing.
Great. Can you explain why you did what you just did while you pick up this trash?
On it. So I gave you the apple because it's the only edible item I could provide you with from the table.
Great. So, based on the scene right now, where do you think the dishes in front of you go next?
The dishes on the table, like that plate and cup, are likely to go into the drying rack next.
Great. Can you put them there?
Of course.
Notice how fluid the robot moves compared to any other robot you've seen before. Its motions are not very robotic and stiff. It's very fluid, almost, obviously almost human-like.
All right, so how do you think you did?
I think I did pretty well. The apple found its new owner, the trash is gone, and the tableware is right where it belongs.
I agree. Thanks, Figure01.
You're welcome. If there's anything else you need help with, just let me know.
So yeah, so that was, as you see, that was very impressive. So the way the robot moved, how it articulation in the hands, how it just dropped things naturally. It didn't have to pause and think about this next action. It was just fluid in one motion. Now that has nothing to do with OpenAI. That's all, Figure, creating this robot. But the fact that it was able to process information, understand what was going on, multitask, was all because of OpenAI and ChatGPT that was included in there. Now we don't know what version of ChatGPT it was running, but let's continue with this right here. Real quick here. A new model emerges, OpenAI VOM. So Figure's onboard cameras feed into a large vision language model trained by OpenAI. Though it's unclear if it's the version of ChatGPT4, OpenAI's flagship large language model that powers the subscription version of ChatGPT5 Plus, such as GPT-v4, if it's a fine-tuned version or such of an existing model, or if it's an entirely new model. So again, we don't know what it was powered by. Hopefully in the future they'll, let us get that information. But it's an impressive declaration. Adcock also noted that the video showing is the end-to-end neural networks. There is no teleop. Also, that was filmed at 1.0 speeds and shot continuously. In other words, the video was not sped up, or as a prior demo videos of other humanoids often do. This was showcasing off the fluid motion, and you can see that there was human being remotely controlled. There was not a human being remotely controlling it and everything. So again, very smooth, no delays or anything. Everything you've seen was at real time. You've seen other demos of AI and robots where they kind of speed it up or cut parts. This was all in real time. It was very impressive. The time he had to think, wasn't that long. He thought about some things and then he, proceeded to act with it. But again, powered by OpenAI. Again, we don't know what the model is, but OpenAI VLM is what we do know. But we'll see what happens from now. But again, every week, like I said, every week there is something new and impressive in the world of AI that is happening. And this is the one thing that I said or talked about before. Just wait till you start getting robots powered by ChatGPT and what OpenAI can do. Eventually, they're going to replace the humans. There's no getting away around it. And this brings me to another article where OpenAI Sam Altman, he was, in an interview with, I can't remember what the magazine was, but I reading this article. He was saying that how he wanted to replace robotics or the future robots to replace the median human. It's terminology that I use, median human. What does that mean, median human? Just an average human being, somebody who's less than stellar. What does that mean? He wants to replace us with these robotics. So that's the future of what these people want with their robotics, and you should be taken aback by that statement by Sam Altman. This is how he talks about humanity and robotics on a regular basis. So, but where Figure goes from here, Figure's demo video appears to be a significant leap forward in humanoid general-purpose robotics interactions, showing a robot interacting fairly natural with a person, obeying them, intuiting what they want, and doing much more smoothly than any previous examples of companies and researchers. It is still just that, a demo and a prototype of that. It will likely take significant more work to get a robot ready for commercial deployment and sell it to businesses and or individuals. Yet Adcock has openly stated, including his X thread today, that our goal is to train a world model to operate humanoid robots at a billion unit level. So he wants a billion of these units out there. So they always said it as, well, this will be an assistant to a human being. This will help you with your stuff. I mean, and I can see that, usage application, but at what point will they become so advanced? Again, they will take away jobs. We've already seen that. They're going to take away, jobs, because I think it goes on here to say they want to be impactful in eliminating need for unsafe and undesirable jobs. So what are those unsafe, undesirable jobs? Jobs like building skyscrapers, doing construction work, and I get it that will help in some cases, but those are the jobs that tough men do, make that good earned hard paycheck, making a living, and you eliminate that job for them. These guys are construction workers and hard hat guys. Where are they going to go? That next level of job for the next upcoming generation will not be there, and you won't be training people to do construction work and stuff like that. They'll have to learn the code, I guess. I don't know. Well, we'll see how that continues to go about in the future. But what do you guys think about that? Were you impressed by that demo? I certainly was. I thought it was very impressive by what Figure is able to do with that. Again, I'm sure over the next months we will see more impressive from not only them but probably other companies as well who are going to be implementing, some of these large language models into their robots in the future. But let me know what you guys think down in the comment section. And let's go over to here. Last of the day here. iOS 18 rumor recap, smarter Siri design changes, and more. Real quick. So we've been hearing about what is going on with iOS. So we've been hearing about rumors and updates, and much needed. Apple is going to be looking to get into the generative AI game with iOS 18, and hopefully, and they will update Siri, who needs a much needed makeover. So let's go into this. So this is an article out of MacRumors.com. iOS 18 is rumored to include new ChatGPT inspired generative AI features for Siri and many built-in apps, and Apple plans to add RCS support to the Messages app and improve texting experience between iPhone and Android devices. So we'll dive into all of that. Each one of those I will cover at a separate point. So let's talk about Siri, smarter Siri, and generative AI. So iOS is rumored to have new generative AI features for Siri, Spotlight, shortcuts, Apple Music, Messages, Health, Numbers, Pages, Keynotes, and a lot more. So big overhaul, big push for AI. We know that Apple has already dipped their toe in there. They have their model that they released called Ferret 7B, and also have a 713, not 713, but a 13 model as well, which is larger, probably more geared towards enterprise. So more likely all this will be based off their Ferret 7B model. Apple CEO Tim Cook has repeatedly teased that the company is working on generative AI and plans to share details later this year. Some generative AI features might be exclusive to iPhone 16 models, which are rumored to have a neural engine with significantly more core. So Siri needs a huge makeover. Siri first came out. Here's the scenario. So Siri was like that girl that was in grade school when you was in not grade school, but elementary school. She was the hot one in grade school. Everybody wanted her. Everybody wanted to talk to her. Everybody wanted to be friends with her. But then we got to high school, and you got to see more hotter girls, more hotter chicks. Siri just kind of became the bum stuck in the corner. Siri needs a complete makeover. She needs to get that hair done, She needs to get those nails done. She needs to start wearing some tighter clothes, showing some skin, puff up the boobies a little bit, flash some cleavage. She needs a complete makeover because Siri is outdated. She's done with. So she can't compete with the new girls on the block right now. So she really needs this, infusion of AI into it. So hopefully with iOS 18, Apple will be able to do that, and Siri can make a big push, and we'll see what Apple can do with generative AI and Siri together on iOS 18, which more likely will launch on the iPhone 16. Let's go RCS support in Messages app. So Apple announced this back in November that they were going to support RCS. Now, as an Android user myself, which is much needed. I know all the iPhone snobs out there hated the fact that when they would text somebody who was on Android, you would get your, green bubbles or blue bubbles? I don't even know, but they make a big deal about it. But having RCS support means that we're going to be able to get higher resolution for our photos and videos, audio messages, typing indicators for both iPhone and Android users, read receipts, Wi-Fi messaging between both iPhone and Android, and improved group chat. So again, once we get this on iOS 18, your complaints and crying and moaning about the green bubbles or blue bubbles, whatever it is, can go away at this point. We will all be unified together in a kumbaya moment. We can finally get there. So all of these features that they're talking about here will be in iOS 18. And with RCS support, all of this stuff right here can already be done on Android too. So we already get audio messages, typing indicators, all that stuff. So we both will be able to come together with that. So much needed. Very looking forward to this for people who have their iPhones and their I'm in group chats with other people, and I can now actually see when they're typing or whatever. So, and design changes. So, in the February edition of his newsletter, Mark Gurman said Apple was working to update the design of iOS. Gurman has yet to reveal any specific design changes planned for iOS 18, but in the November edition of his newsletter, he said Apple's senior management described iOS 18 as ambitious and compelling with major new features and design. So again, we'll be waiting for that, but they don't expect it to be an overhaul completely or a new complete design, but just an overhaul update which is needed. So we'll see what that looks like when it comes out. Again, we don't have any details about that. More than likely, we will start to see, or we will see that at their Worldwide Developer Conference, which I don't know if we have a date for that yet, but we will see. Yeah, so I'm reading your comment down there. Cold Cut Honcho, yes, the Google Bar can do more than Siri at this point. Yeah, so we know Google has been in the AI, has infused AI within their search for a long time, and with their AI assistant, with the assistant, now with AI built into it, yeah, it blows Siri out of the water. Like I said, Siri is old news at this point, and she needs a complete makeover at this point. But yeah, good way to point that out. And so yeah, so so that's pretty much everything about iOS 18 that we know at this point. There is an article that's linked here. I will link it down in the description. So it does a good job of giving a roundup of everything about iOS 18 that we know at this point. Again, in the post, I will make sure I put a link down in the description to that so you can go check that out. But what do you guys think about this? Are you excited for iOS 18? Are you excited for Apple to actually dip their toe into the AI game? So I'm excited to see what Apple can do. Apple generally, when they come into a new area, they bring some good ideas and they kind of revolutionize some areas. So it'll be interesting to see what they can do with AI on their phone. So that'll be interesting to see, and how they can push and challenge. Samsung is already there. We know Google is already there as well. But that is everything that I wanted to cover today. Once again, I had some hiccups in the beginning. I don't know why this stupid computer be doing this stupid stuff sometimes, be dropping or whatever, but figured it out, was able to get it going. But thank you for taking time out to watch this video. Once again, every Saturday I go live at 2 p.m. to cover tech news. And again, I appreciate you if you share this out there with anybody. If you're down there, hit that like button, come in and chat, and let me know what your thoughts are. What can I do better? Again, I'm not a professional. I'm just here trying to give you some tech news, stuff that I like to talk about, stuff that you may be interested in. Am I hitting the right topics for you? If I'm not, let me know. Once again, everything can be found at the website soundstheory.com. So again, that is where I curate and aggregate tech news from around the web, covering Apple, Samsung, Google, Android, computing, and even more general tech news, all at the website soundstheory.com. Once again, also make sure you head over to Twitter. Find me on Twitter, sounds_nerdy. I post a lot of links, articles throughout the day there. Not everything I do make it in video form. So to stay up to date, make sure you check that out. And if you're on any other social media platforms, I'm on Gab, True Social, Getter, Minds, all those. I post articles on there as well. And guys, as always, again, next Saturday, 2 o'clock, we'll be here as well. Figure out what's going to happen in the world of tech. Again, until then, guys, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Share this video with everybody. And until next week, guys, stay nerdy.